Peace, peace. Welcome to the show. This right here is Humble Beginnings, where we simply live it through. All right, man. We got a simple one for the night, man. We just gonna take it easy. We're gonna talk about something that's important, man. We're gonna talk about this thing, man. It's the Trinity of Health. So most people might not understand that. Like, probably people may, when they hear the word Trinity, people typically might think, especially when they hear the word Holy Trinity, they might get into the concept. They started talking about, religion and all these other things like this, other stuff like that. But people might not realize, though, there's a Trinity in which that makes up you. You know what I'm saying? You have your mentality, you have your physicality, and you have your spirit. Most people always hear people say your mind, body, and your soul. So of course, y'all see, I got my boy, my bro, Matty B rocking with me. What's going on, Matt?
Feeling good, man. Ready to get into this big topic, man.
Cool. So this is one of the things that we think that is definitely important. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people might not realize it. So we're just gonna dive in, talk about some of the the benefits and the downfalls. You know what I'm saying? To keeping up these healths and appearances and stuff like that, man. So that's pretty much how we rocking tonight. So the first one I want to dive into, though, I want to talk about physical health. I know my boy Matt is real big, into the working out, the gym, and all this other good stuff like this. So just want to dive into it. We will just expound on some things, man. Like, Matt, man, from your perspective, man, of the things that you know, man, what are the benefits, man, of keeping up a good physical health, man? What are the benefits of keeping up a good physical health?
Yeah, definitely. Some of the benefits I've seen is, being able to move more comfortable, being able to fit clothes and stuff a lot better, building confidence. On a simple level, just being able to accomplish something every day. A lot of people, they set goals in life or they have things they want to get done. And physical fitness is just a way every single day you can actually get something done. It's very quick. It's very, well, to me, very easy. But to some people, I can see where you can say it's hard. But once you get into a routine and you get to, establishing a routine or whatever and doing it consistently, it gets easier and easier. And then, it's just a confidence level booster for me.
Why do you think when it comes to like physical health, as far as like working out, we're gonna talk about working out first. There's other components to it, but right, we'll talk about working out. Why is working out just so difficult?
I think people don't like the initial pain that they go through to get there, and then I think people want to see fast results. It's not something that's an overnight thing, especially if you kind of don't have a history of working out and don't have a history of building that, regime of having them aches and stretching and everything. But once you get, like I say, once you get into it, man, all that stuff gets easier.
Yeah,
And I think it's just a mentality thing as well, too. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I was gonna definitely chime that part in there, but I think that like nowadays, like we know, like you see, like people move today, like they move off a lot of trends and stuff like that, and you always hear a lot of people talking about fitness, but when I be looking and listening to how people are talking, I be wondering like, dang, do most people actually trying to get in? Are they really trying to get in shape for health, or they just care more just about the just regular visual effects, the help within dating and all these other aesthetics that come along with their life? Which one? What you think? You think more people when they get in their physical fitness journey, you think they really care about the health, or you think it's more so the aesthetics that come with it?
I think more so overall, it's probably the aesthetics that come with it, definitely. Because in general, you don't have that high of a percentage of people working out, even if you go by the totality of people, especially in the Western culture we live in. But yeah, a lot of people definitely, like, you see it mainly more in like the metropolitan areas because a lot of people are trying to be competitive, whether it comes to dating, whether it comes to how they look when they going for jobs. And in society, whether we like it or not, the better you look, the more opportunities you get, whether it's dating, whether it's, you know, people wanting to speak to you, meeting new friends, job opportunities. It definitely plays a part into, even the things outside of just health. So I think there's a big component of that. People just wanting to, be more competitive in life. I would say that outweighs just the people that are really big on just, I need to be physically fit because of health concerns.
Yeah, I definitely see. I definitely see a lot of that. I always be wondering, and really, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm a personal trainer, so I know that like you will hear a lot of people they'll lead in with the idea of like being healthy, but you could tell
Mhm.
it's really like for certain other like seasonal type goals and things like that. You know what I'm saying? But man, when it comes to physical fitness, man, I always say, and I could be wrong, but I always say when we talk about people and then like whatever they do within their life, one thing I always notice, man, like people who take the time to focus on physical fitness, like apply themselves as far as like work ethic when it comes to physical fitness, I
Mhm.
typically notice that in other aspects of their life, they typically do a lot better in as well. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like they typically got a different type of work ethic about them because I think it's like if you're willing to put that work on yourself, most people are typically willing to put that work into like more career paths and other things like that too. I think also like even when you talk about like coupleships, I think like when you like if you got spouses who get into the ideas of working out and putting that focus on those points, I think it like when you're willing to put your still body through that pain and build up that strength and all this,
Mhm.
flexibility and endurance and all the stamina and things of that nature. I think that a lot of people typically understand what it means in a sense. They probably willing to work at certain relationships. Certain people. Now I ain't saying most. A lot of
Yeah,
people
absolutely.
ain't good in that area. So when we talk about physical fitness, man, also eating, like our diet, plays a really, really big part in our physical fitness. It's not only, the activity, the lifting weights, you know what I'm saying, the running, the
Mhm.
calisthenics and things of that nature. It's also the way you eat. And the way you eat is kind of what helps form your physicality to a degree as well. What are some of the importance, man, that you feel, man, that come from simply eating right?
Oh, definitely. I think that's like how you say that's probably even more so than the lifting. You know, of course you need to work out, you need to be stretched, you need to be walking, but I would say eating is definitely the biggest part of your diet. You know, what you put in, you become. So like
Mm-hmm.
I try to eat healthy somewhat. I could be doing a lot better, but I definitely don't want to, because to the best thing about like being fit or being healthy is the prevention. And a lot of times that comes with the diet. A lot of times you're not really in that bad of a shape if you weren't eating unhealthy in the first place. So like some people don't work out that much at all, but they eat pretty healthy. And they
Mm-hmm.
typically are slim fit. They may not be 100% healthy because there's more than they may look healthy. You know, a lot of people say some people are slim fat. I don't know if
Yeah.
you heard that phrase
Yeah, nah,
before.
I know that is.
You know, yeah. So, but you definitely can control the image part of it and the internal things as far, and I think like bad food also changes, like people don't realize this, but like your emotions, your ups and highs, like that has a lot to do with your eating habits as well. So definitely.
I'm glad you said that though, because I was literally about to ask you a question about stress and stuff like that. Like, how do you
Yeah.
think diet and like physical activity? Because it ain't not even just the diet, like physical activity. Like, say, like like I know guys like I work I'm in an MMA gym. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I do martial arts, teach martial arts. So a lot of guys, they get in there, and sometimes it's a stress relief. Like they'll lift weights and be hitting the bench, and that's their way of getting rid of like a lot of that stress. You know what I'm saying? And focusing their energy on something. The same way with cats who they get to hitting that heavy bag. You know what I'm saying? You see a lot of
Mhm.
guys hit that bag, get the release, throw them hooks and jabs and things like that. And that's just their way of, relieving stress. You know what I'm saying? Being able to, let go a lot of things because I think that, that is a way of pushing out a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? So I think when it comes to physical fitness, I don't think people really understand how important it is. Like I meet a lot of people, and they just like they're not even old, and that's like they be around like 40, 45. And I know, the era we live in, you around a lot of young people, they'll be quick to say that's old. But I know a lot of cats, man, they'll be like, no, I'm already big. And then it's like they not willing to work. They be like, it's too late now. And I'd be like, dang, how can somebody at 40 say it's too late to trim up a little bit or to even
That's
eat
crazy.
healthier? That's crazy to me. Like,
That's crazy.
how is that too late? Like, that's weird to me. And then you got like people who will say, like, they'll be like, I'm not, they'll be like, I'm not able to do it because genetically, like, what do you think when you hear people make that argument that genetically I'm big?
I think it's just
Like
people.
they habits don't play a part into that. What'd you say about that?
I think that's just people that want an excuse to not do what they got to do to get the results that they say they want,
Mm-hmm.
allegedly. But yeah, I don't think that has nothing to do with genetics. I believe there are some things that genetically, you know, kind of like hold back another generation, but I don't think that's one of them. That has everything to do with hard work. Even if it may be harder for some people than other people, because that has been proven that some people, may gain muscle quicker, may lose weight quicker, but it can be done no matter what family or what tribe or whatever you come from. That's something that it takes hard work. And if you already mentally, because I know we're gonna get into mental health, you're already mentally telling yourself you can't do it, then you done lost most of the battle right there before you even get into the physical. Because now, as soon as you touch the weights, your body's gonna start aching because your mind controls your body. As soon as you go in the gym, you're gonna feel dreaded, like, oh man, here we go, because you already done told yourself you can't do it. So I think I just to get to your point, I think that's BS.
Oh yeah. Even for a lot of people, I don't think a lot of people realize, man, like when people people's sex drive is different when you eat and you
Yeah,
physically work
I was
out
gonna
too.
get into that.
Like that's a big difference too. Like a lot of
Mhm.
times you carry a lot more stamina even in the bedroom just from being active. And I don't think a lot of people realize that.
And a lot of parents don't like to hear this, but a lot of parents, they tell their daughters or their sons at an early age, they imprint that it's genetically, because they know that they child's gonna have to deal with a lot of stuff coming through school, what they weight, growing up. They know their child is gonna be picked on a lot. So they're already telling their child, because they're trying to protect their child, that you're supposed to be like this. Have confidence in yourself. You're not supposed to be like other kids. I see that happen all the time. You can eat what you want to eat. They're already telling their kid, this is how you're supposed to be, because a lot of people don't want their kid to feel bad. It's the
Mm-hmm.
everybody wins type game. So they're already telling them from a child to accept this type of behavior and accept this type of weight and this status, because this is what you're supposed to be. So sometimes people never break out that. They automatically just run with it and through their whole life, like, well, I was born this and this is what I'm supposed to be like, you know.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. What do you think? Like, I mean, and I know we see a lot of it. Like the downfalls that when people have poor health, we see people like the eating side of it. Because like how you matter of fact, like what you said about the skinny fat.
Yeah.
uh, Most people don't know that that term is actually a term for people who are very, very slim, but they are
Mhm.
yet obese. A lot of people think obesity comes with like you have to be really, really big. You have to be like almost like a blob like shape, but that's not really where it lays out. Like you have people who are slim who have poor diets, and
Yeah.
they just as bad as any other person who was damn near 300, 250, 300 pounds. They don't even realize it. They'll encounter the same issues, like gout, diabetes, high
Diabetes,
blood pressure. They account all
fatigue,
these same
all that.
things, but they believe that there's some people who believe that it's supposed to happen, especially like in the black community, because it's like we came up with such poor diets. We think it's normal. We think it's normal to mess around and have high blood pressure. Like I know
Mhm.
people like literally I could see people be in the line, they be like they got high blood pressure, but they won't stay away from pork at all. Knowing pork is salty as hell, and that is
All
like
the
one of the
time.
things. Like, but it's like they know it, but then it's like, yo, they won't shift.
And we've been eating bad so long that it's tradition. You got a lot of people that's older as well that feel like, I can't get away from fat back. I can't get away from these pork chops and these ham hocks, because they look at that as giving part of the identity up. A lot of families was raised off that cooking from Big Mama, and they cherish that type of cooking. So they're like, nah, that's gonna go with me into the end.
Yeah. And it's also funny too. Like I'll see like when you get like especially like around family and when they go to do their prayer, they'll be like, they pray that the food may nourish their body and all that other stuff like that. And I'll be like, nourish the body. And then I'll look at the spread, and I'll be like, I think we got the wrong foods, dog. We really trying to build so like some good nourishment. And I'm like, this kind of backwards. Like we praying over something that we know gonna fail. It's kind of weird.
And
But
it's like comfort food as well.
oh
There's
yeah,
something
most
called
definitely.
comfort food. It's almost like the same thing with like relationships. It's going right back to food, but it's like the
Hmm.
same when you get comfort with being with people that you normally be around. It's comfort. You get a comfortability in eating the same things you've always ate. So when you try something else that may not have the same amount of seasoning, may not taste the same, a lot of people are uncomfortable with it, and it's a difference. Your body has to take time to adjust to how long you've been eating unhealthy before that. So it's going to be a time frame when it tastes disgusting to you, or it may not taste as flavorful, but eventually everything adapts. You build a habit, and then eventually your body adapts to where you're trying to go.
Isn't it funny that the majority of the stuff that's like actually supposed to be good for you is not really like an acquired taste of good, and it's like everything that's bad for you tastes good as hell.
Yeah, that's the trick though. We got if it's really bad for you, even if you go back to a lot of times in history, if it's really bad for you, it has to be seasoned well for you to eat it. Because if everything tastes the same, you would just go for the healthier things, you
Hmm.
know. But so the better things are, it's enticing, you know.
I always say because I'm glad you say it's a trick. Because I always say that I was like, so wouldn't it be like, like people always say, man, what's healthy tastes bad, and what's unhealthy tastes good. I was like, but what if what is healthy actually it ain't that it tastes bad. That's actually what the good supposed to taste like. And
Yeah,
that bad is that sweetness that we tend to yearn for, but it's not. That's not really where it's at. You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy.
I agree with you. I was just about to say that too because it's subjective. You know what I'm saying? Because someone that's eating healthy their whole life may taste the same type of food that other people eat and say it's disgusting. Immediately spit it out. Like, whoa, this is salty. Whoa,
Mhm.
this is disgusting. But if you're used to eating that your whole life, you're going to be the opposite.
And you can see like the negative downfalls. Like when you take something like pork, like if you eliminate it from your diet, and then you go to like for extensive amount of time, and then you go to re-add it, it's crazy how extremely salty it is. Like you will get sometimes you will get like a rush of a headache. It's like
Yeah,
you will feel like almost an instantly wearing you, and you be like, yo, what the hell? But not realizing like, yo, but it was something you was eating for a long time, but you finally just eliminated it, and now you like, oh man, this is crazy. Like, how does do this to you? Like, and then you're like, yo, this is really just that bad for you. That's it. That's
that's
crazy.
a
That's
fact.
crazy. So I know like when people get into like when they talk physical fitness, right? I know a lot of people got their ideas. A lot of people there's many different ways. Of course, there's many different ways to go about it because people are different. People are different body types. I'm one of them people. I can dive into these things from Western mindsets to even a lot of Eastern mindsets, just only because like I even think like the Hindus got a real neat way they approach, you know what I'm saying, fitness and stuff of that nature. I ain't about to go into all that on this show because it'd be extensive. But I do think
Yeah,
that there's a lot of people who got different avenues and ways and stuff that they address when it comes to physical fitness. And it's like that I think your goal has to be pretty clear for yourself. I think it's one of those things like if you want to be healthy, because people don't understand when people talk about being fit and being healthy, they're two different things. So a lot of
yeah,
people talk about, when they be like they want to be fit. Most time when you want to be fit, you just want that, like I said, the aesthetics. You just want the look. You want to look, you know what I'm saying? You want the six pack, the cut up. For the fellas, they want the pecs, you know what I'm saying? They want to be able to flex or the biceps and things of that nature. For the women, they want the same aesthetics. They want the six or the four pack. They want them tone curves and things of that nature. But healthy is not really what their concern is. They just want to look good.
yeah.
And
Exactly, exactly.
listen, there's nothing wrong with looking good if it gets you to the same goal. I always say that. Like if your journey to look good actually puts you on a more healthier path, because sometimes even chasing that goal alone still better than what the fuck you was doing in the beginning. Because most people ain't
Yeah.
been doing nothing worthwhile in the beginning anyway. So I'm like, yo, I'm cool with that way of moving as long as it benefits you. You know what
And
I'm
it's
saying?
like how we say it's a confidence booster. A lot of people in life they set goals, whether it's like career, whether it's like family, whether it's like competitive sports, and a lot of their goals it includes another component, another person that is benefiting as well. Your job is also benefiting the supervisor. Uh, your relationship is also benefiting the person you're with. But when you physically working out, that's kind of one things that you 100% focusing on yourself. So you don't get it's not too many things. You get more confidence and more of a thrill, and once you accomplishing it as working out. Because when you out there running 5 miles or whatever, it's just you. You're doing it only for you. No one else is watching you. It's not benefiting nobody else. It's just one-on-one. So
yeah, even for people who try to do it, like say people always, people now they always be like, yo, they trying to get their summer body. So even with the idea of you doing it and you doing it for the allure of other people, it still benefits people as well. Like I know, like now we live like everybody want the fast results. Everybody want to try, these surgeries. Everybody want to try all these supplements and things of these nature, but it's like nothing beats the real thing. Like nothing beats, like even when you get supplements, and I always tell people most supplements usually only have a benefit when you don't have like zero. Like we take something like vitamin D. If you literally don't eat, you don't put none of that in your system at all. That's usually where your supplements come in handy. But if you are a person who automatically puts certain things in your body and you already walk with a certain diet anyway, it typically is a different shift because it's like you don't really need the supplement because you're actually getting a more pure effect of it. And a lot of the supplements, most of the people don't even realize, a lot of times you piss about 85% of that shit out. Mm-hmm. But it is better than nothing. So when you get people who don't have it in their diet at all, that 15, 20% is better than what they were getting in the beginning. Even though, there's a better way to go about how you try to put certain things in your body. Most people just don't, they don't take the approaches for whatever reasons they do it.
And that also plays into the thing you said earlier about based on what type of results a person is wanting to get. Like if a person is really wanting to be healthy, it may take a lot longer. Say example like creatine and certain supplements to build muscle. It'll take a lot longer without using those supplements, but you will maintain it longer because it's the natural way you built yourself. Now, somebody may not care about, like how you say, 100% the healthy aspect. They may just care on getting the look, the results. So they may want the quicker way to get there, just to have that look for summer bodies. So they may say that they started a month or 2 months before summer. They may want to take their creatine or those BCAAs because it's a quick thing. Now, you don't retain it. As soon as you get off of it, a lot of those muscles are going to be lost because it was just a lot of water weight based on the supplements you were taking. But, some people want the results and some people want the natural way. But the natural way is definitely better long term. Can you hear that on the other side? That sound that was coming through? If you can't hear it, that's cool.
Nah, I ain't hear it.
All right, don't worry about it. All right.
So even when we talk about physical fitness, one of the things I always chime in when I talk to people, and a lot of people don't typically understand or realize how important it is. So we talk about activity, right? But a lot of people don't realize how important rest is. Like how important, like rest is a major component to your physical abilities. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if you're a big person and like lifting weights and all that, that rest, most people don't know, man. Like when you go to sleep, like your body does a natural detox. It does it naturally. Your body needs that time to help regenerate those muscles, rebuild certain cells and all this other stuff like that. So you get some people who get so caught up on the workout, and they just want to just hit it hard, hit the gym hard, go in, that nobody takes the time to be like, you know what? I need to just be able to rest. And I'm being honest with you, a lot of times the rest is actually more important than the workout itself.
That's a fact.
And that's what a lot of people don't seem to understand. But it is.
Yeah, the rest keeps you alive.
What's up, man?
The rest keeps you alive.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah.
The lifting don't necessarily keep you alive, but you definitely need that rest.
They just like, how you hear people say, when you be like, hey, man, you might need to get some rest and go to sleep. They'll say something crazy like, yo, I'll sleep when I die. And like, first thing I hear in my mind, I be like, shit, you don't get no sleep, boy. You're going to be dead soon.
Yeah, very soon. You get your wish very soon.
Listen, you gonna be real close to that if you don't mess around and lay it down in a little bit.
That's a fact.
Let's talk about this mental health, man. I know like nowadays, man, you always hearing people talk about mental health and people getting their mental wellness together and people doing all these different things. Like I said, It's a trend. Same way physical fitness became a trend, mental health is even a trend. You know what I'm saying? People are talking a lot about so-called getting their counseling and talking to therapists and all that other stuff like that. Are a lot of people really doing these things? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I always hear it, but I don't really know too many people who actually really take it, to that extent. But I always hear it though. I hear people say it all the time. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna go talk to a therapist and all that stuff. And this could be a lot of BS. You know what I'm saying? Just like how a lot of people when they hit the gym physically, they just be in there taking pictures and all this other stuff like that. They'll do a little something. They ain't really, building on nothing. But I mean, like I said, it could be what it is. But in your opinion, man, how important is this mental health, man?
Oh, I think the mental health is very important. I think that comes before anything. Your mentality, and the health of it. Like people think that a lot of times people don't. They wait till it's too late before or it's almost too late before they actually start trying to work with their mental health. But I tell people the same thing. It should be like I say, it should be your physical health, your mental health, your sexual health. I think you should be working on your whole entire being as far as being on this earth, making your life on this earth as pleasant as it can be. So I work on all those things. I don't just do physical health. It's mental, it's sexual, it's meditating. All that stuff is part of who you are as a person. But as far as the mental health, if you ain't got that right, it affects everything. It affects the way you work, it affects the way you communicate, it affects your relationships. That's the number one thing that controls everything else. As far as what you're saying about a lot of people do speak on it, but I don't think that many people actually work on it. I think that's just a talking point, and it sounds cool because it's trendy now. And it's actually doing a disservice to people that actually do need that actually are working on themselves, because with everyone saying they do it, it takes away the people that are really putting that work in. Because you think now when you hear it, people go, everybody say that. So it's hard to decipher who's really doing the work and who's just talking. And then I think some people, everybody attempts something, but attempting something and staying consistent with something is completely different. Because everybody that has went through something in their life, they always say, I need time to get my mental health together. And a day or two later, they're off that and they're back to the same thing they've been doing. So it's the consistent part. And the mental is, it sounds crazy because you need your mental to even know you need to work on your mental. So it sounds a little crazy because while you try to get your mental together,
Yeah, I
the
get that.
mentality is actually weak. So that's like one of the things, like saying that, well, I do believe in, you can hire a trainer. I don't think it's necessary, but you can. I think it's beneficial if you need somebody to keep you, disciplined. If you kind of need that person to be on you to keep you disciplined, but I think if you really ain't there, mental wise, you definitely need some assistance with that. Because that's something that you can't. If your mental is gone, how can you control your mental if your mental is gone? So I think a lot of people definitely need that if they really have a mental problem. Now, some people just weak as hell. If some people think anytime you're going through something mental wise, you need to hire somebody or you need to shut it down. Now, some things are just natural aspects through life. We all gonna have hard times.
Oh yeah, I most definitely agree. And even like how you said earlier, like the mentality is really the first step before you can even get physical. You know what I'm saying? Like most people don't realize before we can even jump into physical, some physical training, you got to be there mentally. Like you got to want and be ready to do that, because all it takes, man, and we've all been victims to it. Those of us who go to the gym and everything like that, we've all been victims to it. You'll set out and be like, man, you know what? I just ain't in the mood. Like your mind could be somewhere else. You could be worrying about something or worrying about the job, bills, whatever, your wife, you know what I'm saying, whatever situation it is. And it'll literally deter you from your whole workout. Like you be like, what?
Even when you start seeing accomplishments, because when you start working out and people start telling you look good, damn, you look fit, you're doing good. Now you like, I ain't really got to go tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't feel it now, you're gonna be easier to drop out of it because you like, I'm getting the results I want. What one day gonna hurt? Now you miss one day. Next week, you may say, what 2 days gonna hurt? Because everybody giving me compliments. So sometimes those compliments take your job away. Because I've done that before. I start getting compliments. You start getting more attention from females. You start going out more. And now you like, I'm gonna just go 2 times this week. I'm doing good for myself. My body look good. You start feeling yourself. You kind of start slacking off. So even like success can actually end up rolling you back if you don't, control that mental.
Oh yeah, and I think even like from like a social spectrum, I think we got to understand our placements and learn how to apply things in an accurate manner. Like me, I'm more of an introverted person. You know what I'm saying? I ain't really cool with these crowds and mess around with these cats and stuff like that. I like to stay to myself. I'm good with being within my solitude. You know what I'm saying? With my dealing with my mind and my feelings. So that's why I like areas and when it comes to like meditation and things of that nature. And I say I got into meditation a lot earlier only because I'm real big into traditional martial arts. So within Kempo and Shotokan karate, you know what I'm saying? I learned a lot of these things like a lot earlier. So these things came a lot easier to me, but it does bring a balance and a stillness to your mind as well as your spirit. And we're going to definitely touch on spirit too, because it's part of the Trinity. But it brings a level of calmness and a stillness of something that you need to really help you get through a lot of things. Most people don't know, man. Like even when you ain't mentally right, almost everything is at jeopardy. Like your family is at jeopardy because all it takes is for you to be a little unstable and you can ruin and spaz out and go crazy. Your job is at jeopardy because you can spaz out and next thing like how we see a lot of these people, these crazy cats out here now doing a lot of these mass shootings and whatnot. These are, evidence of, not having those levels of mental stability. Because if you ain't mentally stable or you don't control certain of them emotions, and a lot of people don't realize that even when we talk about your emotions, it still starts from your mind. Like some people might be like, yo, well, if I feel a certain way, but it starts up top first though. Like it starts here and then your brain then triggers it out through the rest of your body and then you typically get the emotion that comes accordingly. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people just don't understand that even when we talking about feelings, and I'm bringing up feelings because we live in an era where most people are move and live off their emotions. But they'll use the excuse of saying, because I always say this too, you got the right to feel however you want to feel. But then when you tell people that, they kind of feel like these things are justified in a sense. But they're not really justified because it still starts with your mind and you still got to make these choices. So even though you feel a certain way, you still got to understand that there's a mentality that comes with it. Whether like how people talk about being like the idea of playing a victim, that when you walk with the mentality of a victim, you typically always land in victim situations. You typically always find yourself at the mercy of your employers. Some people always find themselves at the mercy of their spouse. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't know that like when you're not strong enough, you will always be that victim. And it's only when you push mentally to overcome it, you can then achieve different things. What you think about that, man? People fall into the mercy of other people when they walk with that like victim mentality. What you think about that?
Oh yeah, I 100% agree because like how we've been saying this whole show, it starts with the mental. You already preparing yourself to lose. You you already done took a loss mental wise. So as soon as you get out there, you're gonna most of the times you create your own circumstances based on your mentality that you move through it in life. If you believe you're gonna be a failure and you have a victim's mentality, a lot of times your moves are also going to be based on your thought process. If you believe that you can't become a higher position at a job, it's the same. It's the same thing. In anything, you living as a victim, you're going to attract people. Your energy you put out is also attracting those people towards you. So you believe, hey, I can't find the right man or I can't find the right female. You're typically going to find people that you're not compatible with or you don't feel like is uplifting you. So I agree with you that victim mentality hinders a lot of people, and actually a whole lot of people. A lot of people are hindered by that victim mentality. So they're going to continue getting that.
I think too, man, like, when it comes to these emotions, I think a lot of people just don't realize, like, excuse me, when you put certain things forward, you just have to be secure. And I don't think a lot of people are secure mentally for whatever reasons. We all walk different lives. We all come through different traumas or whatever, these PTSDs or whatever it is that we live through. I think that we go through them, but I think a lot of people don't know how to turn certain things around to work within their favor. But I think they don't know how to do that because they also don't know how to recognize like a problem. Like, for example, if you take somebody who say they might be like involved in a relationship and they might be the type of person who got control issues. They might not view it or understand that it's a control thing. They might think that, no, I'm just a person with expectations and I just want my expectations to go a certain way. But it's like, nah, it's bigger than just an expectation. It's an area where you're trying to actually control other people. And I ain't talking only with their relationship. I'm talking about people do this amongst their friends. People do this amongst their family. Like, they try to control people. It's just like the idea of like people who got that savior complex. Like, they'll get into fights and arguments with you because they want to control the way you walk your path. So they'll tell you, well, you need to be doing this because this is what's right for you. Now, understanding that if a person is not ready themselves or deem this is their position to make these changes, then what you're doing is completely disrespectful because they're not wanting your help. Like, if a person don't want your help, even though we hide under the umbrella of helping, we think like, yo, that's a good thing, but it's actually not. It could be a very bad thing. And a lot of people don't realize that. But when it comes to mental
for help, some people are asking for help and they don't know what help looks like. So they could be asking for help and turning down what you think is beneficial to them. They cannot see it that way because they can actually think help should come in a different format than what you're giving it to them. So I've seen that happen as well, where a person is asking you for help, you with a female or you with a friend, and they're asking you for advice to help you, telling them this is the best, and they're not even taking it, and they ask you for it. You know, because they have an idea of what you should be saying.
It's like the similar idea. Like, say if you meet like a homeless person on the street and they ask you for some money, and you be like, yo, I'm gonna help you get a job. Now you trying to help them, but they get offended. They be like, yo, motherfucker, I ain't ask you for no job, dog. I asked you for some money to be able to do, this, that, and the other. But you really trying to help. You like, listen, you trying to eat for the day. I'm trying to help you eat for the rest of your life. But they don't understand it. But it goes into what you're saying about that people ideas of help. Most people want the help to come in the way that they want the help. And you got some people who fall victim and then they oblige. And then you got some people who can be like, look, man, I just know I understand the necessary and I'm only going to help you with what's necessary. These are a lot of the battles you typically come into with family. Like when you're trying to get certain people to, change this or do certain stuff like that. Like, I remember, like, with my mom, I remember always telling my mom, like, yo, you might want to change, like, the diets and, add some physical exercise and stuff like that to what it is that you do. And I remember having this conversation for a while. And then it wasn't until she started having, doing this job, like at an old folks home, that we didn't have a conversation. She was like, yo, like, it's crazy that the majority of the problems that people are facing are self-inflicted. And I was like, yo, that's what I've been saying from the beginning, though. A lot of the problems are self-inflicted. And I understand that if you don't know, you don't know. Because when we get into mental health, we gotta address awareness. And a lot of people are not aware when there's a problem. So I always say this: how would a crazy person or a retarded person know that they're crazy or so-called retarded? Because retarded don't only mean handicapped. You know what I'm saying? But how would this person know? Like, how would they?
They had to hit complete rock bottom and have one of those moments where their whole life is turned upside down, or it has to come from a bunch of people that they really, really respect. It got to come from somebody that they respect more than even themselves. Or like I say, they got to hit straight rock bottom, one or the other. A lot of times they're not going to get it until something traumatic happens, unfortunately.
I don't even think they would know still. I think like
it's possible.
If you crazy, that would be your normality, wouldn't it?
Well, you would have to hit bottom even outside of your normality.
Well, no. Listen to what I'm saying. If you were crazy, like that was you were crazy.
Not really.
That would be your normality, though, right?
Yeah.
So if your normality is that, how would it be easy for anyone, or how would someone convince you that something is wrong with you when that is your normality? Like,
let me ask you this, and then I'm gonna respond. But let me ask you this: When you say crazy, you saying because there's people that say, example, you see somebody going down trajectory where they're kind of losing it, right? There's a process of when someone's not all the time, because sometimes it could be one incident, like an accident or something traumatic happen, they just go crazy overnight. Most of the time, there's a progression to get to full blown crazy. Would you say yeah, no to that?
Yeah, for some people, yes, they can be driven crazy. Yes.
So what point you talk about once they're full blown crazy, or you talk about that at that point where they're like crazy but not like completely gone yet?
Well, I'm talking about the fact of a person who's already within their lunacy. Like
okay, yeah, it's over. You already did. It's over with. It ain't.
That's what I'm saying. Like if a person is already within their lunacy, how does it register to them when that is now their actual normality? Like
it wouldn't register to them without outside help at that point. They would have to, I don't know if it's a facility or they have to be on medication to where it calms them down. Some medication calms them down, and then someone speaks to them, psychiatric place or whatever. It'd have to be a lot different than somebody just telling them. You actually gonna need, medications and other aspects to kind of get them to understand that. Then
I'm glad you brought that up. I think as much as we talk, I don't think I ever asked you this. How do you feel about like medication?
As far as medication,
for you personally,
dealing with health
or not for other people.
Yeah, I'm saying medications as far as all medications or medications for health concerns, like, or medications for like, because I know there are different types of medications. Like,
yeah. So I'm talking about like the medication, like prescription-based medication.
Okay. I mean, I think it's definitely a shortcut. It's definitely a shortcut. I don't think it actually, in majority of the situations, fixes the problem. I think it just gets you to continue taking medication, and it just kind of like holds you up. Me personally, I don't really like medications, but I think I can see the benefits in it in very small aspects here and there, but not often. I'm really like self-help. I think most of the things you can get to fix your problems and your illnesses are natural, by natural forms. So that's my opinion.
So I was going to chime into that avenue. I was going to say, like, when you get into like prescription drug type medication, I think that, well, that's iffy too, because if I'm a literal speaker, so we started talking about drugs. Technically, even natural avenues can be considered
drugs. Yeah.
Drugs. So but me personally, I'm not into like those type of levels of medication. Like I don't take medicine. Like I'm not taking over the counter, behind the counters, within the counter, through the counter, back stove shelf. I don't get into stuff like that. I understand that there's a natural way to fix a lot of problems. So me personally,
my fault.
Now, go ahead. What you say?
I believe me personally, I understand this is me personally. I believe being reliant on medications is the downfall. Because, like, say example, I rarely ever have a migraine, but let's say example, I have a migraine maybe twice a year, if that, once or twice a year. Like I take a BC powder because in 10 minutes it immediately goes away, and then I won't have to ever take that BC powder again to the next year or something like that. Now I wouldn't have that as a reliance, just a one thing over the counter quick fix thing that I know it gets their headache over quick. And it's not like a headache is a continuous thing, unless for some people it may be. But for me personally, a headache, migraine is a continuous thing. So that BC powder or that Tylenol knocking that out immediately ends the problem. And now you're going the whole day out that year without having to deal with pain.
So I don't disagree with what you said, but sometimes people can't control when they fall addicted to something.
Yeah, that's the point, when they get addicted.
Like, you know what I'm saying? When we get into like a lot of these opioids and stuff like that, like when we take and there's different sides to this, like the whole fentanyl situation, right? There are a lot of people who get into this situation because maybe they might have been injured and then they started taking like pain medications and then they got addicted. And it's kind of an uncontrollable thing because if you're in pain, naturally you just want the pain to go away. So when you start taking certain medications, you find yourself addicted, and it's like kind of never stood a chance. Excuse me.
I can see that how that can happen, because it was one point where I had a toothache for like 2-3 months, and I just went and go to the dentist when I should have been with. I don't know what was going on at the time. It's so far ago, but I became reliant on BC powders or Advil because I know every day I could just take one and the pain will go away rather than actually going to the dentist. So you have some people that don't like hospitals, don't like dentists, and they avoid certain things or avoid a natural way of doing things, and they become reliant on the medication now. They're like, hey, this is just doing the job perfectly.
Yeah,
So
because
now
it
always
gives that
taking medication.
temporary fix.
Exactly. So now instead of just going to the doctor dealing with him putting that needle in your gum and getting that tooth out, you taking medications months and months, and that ends up to be years and years. And some people never get their tooth pulled. And there's some people that passed away from not getting a tooth pulled because it eventually has bacteria and has a hole in your mouth, and it forms through your body and stuff. So I definitely agree. I definitely can see how somebody can become addicted, and it can be a liability to their health.
Oh yeah,
And
most
one more
definitely.
question: Would you say energy drinks are a form of drugs? Would you say that, or would you not consider that a form of a drug? Certain energy drinks.
Well, anything could be a drug though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we being
Medication.
realistically and
Would you
technically,
like medication? Would you consider that a form of medication?
I wouldn't consider it a form of medication because all energy drinks aren't made the same. Some of them are more caffeine based, some of them are more sugar based, some of them get more into them other different stuff. So I wouldn't say it's more that,
Depending
but
on the energy drink.
yeah. See that's what I'm
Okay,
saying. Like
gotcha.
I know they're very different, and they like the compounds are very very different. Depends on what it is that you're trying to
Because
that you take.
you got energy drinks that got creatine, drugs, and
That's what
all
I'm
that. I've
saying.
seen some energy drinks that got a lot of stuff in there.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm saying. Some of them are, like they so it's so many different kinds, and the basis of what makes those up are different, but they can be.
Mm-hmm.
I think most supplements, dog, are like medicine at for most people, because most people are usually prescribed or told to take supplements when they got a certain level of a deficiency.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not doing certain stuff like calcium, iron, all of that stuff like that. Usually when there's a deficiency, they're usually prescribed or just simply told to have to do it. So they can become that, I think. But anything can become a drug though. You know what I'm
Do you
saying?
think some of the vitamins that they say are 100% natural? Do you actually believe that? Like, would it be like this is giving you the same exact effect that eating broccoli and your greens is giving? This green pill has the same things in it. Do you
No.
believe like that's okay?
That's
Obviously,
like
how that little
to
yeah, go
me,
ahead.
that's like somebody telling me that buying any bottle of water is like, especially like purified or distilled, like buying these bottles of water, you're drinking straight water without all the chemical compounds. When you know it takes chemicals to purify it, a lot of the still waters that take chemicals. So like somebody made a joke. They wasn't making a joke. They were serious. But they were saying that they was like, yeah, I'm not gonna. They was like, I ain't gonna drink no unnatural water. But then they was talking about how they drink, talking about like a lot of the bottled water. And it was like, well, that's actually pretty unnatural because there's a bunch of chemicals that go in just something simply as bottled water. So
Even
to me,
faucet
when I
water is
hear like when
unnatural.
somebody say purely something, I'm like, nah, it can't be that because it's too much that they're adding into it. And if you think that there are chemicals being added, like I don't know whether people think the chemicals just so-called vanish once they do whatever the job is that they were supposed to do. Like if you wanted to purify the water, I don't know if people look at it and be like, well, I wanted to purify my water. Like once the water purified, all of a sudden the chemicals disappear. I don't know if we think like this, but you're definitely wrong.
Like, so what would be a form? I would say one thing I've heard before. You tell me what you consider like a form of natural water. So like somebody collecting rainwater and then filtering it themselves. Would you consider that a form of like natural water?
Yeah, because you got natural ways to filter.
Yeah, I've seen people do that. Yeah, they
Yeah,
collect the
you got
rainwater
natural
and they
ways of
filter it
filtering. So
themselves,
yeah,
boil it and
I would say
everything.
that. Yeah, I mean, of course, if it comes from, if it comes sky, I mean, it's natural. It naturally got there, but you can. There's natural ways of filtering too. So, I mean, yeah, of course.
Because faucet water, I mean, that water is still put through a process. The water that comes in your house.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Even a lot of bottled water that people buy is put through a process.
Exactly. I
I
mean,
know a lot of people.
we definitely know no one's pouring the water into those bottles, tightening up the caps there out of those millions of bottles themselves. It's a machine and all this that this water is going through.
Or I mean, or like some people like they might give you like the example like Fiji or something like that, and they might have like that. They might show you that waterfall or something like that. We know that this process ain't simply as they went up there with that bottle and they just holding that bottle underneath there. Once it fill up, they just tighten it up and say, that good water, that's natural." We know that's not not
Exactly.
literally the simple process. So
Exactly.
I mean, it is what it is. It's just that I mean. And anything, I think when it comes to most things, it's all about moderation. That's physical and mental. I think the things that you keep around you as far as mentally, it comes in moderation. It's like, say you might be a person that like, we'll do something basic. We'll talk music. Say you might like hard rock music or gangster rap. And you can rock with it, deal with it for a time, those vibrations and all these other things like that, they weigh upon us because we are vibrant beings and we get into a lot of, I can, dive down that road. But, we can walk that path of that and say, okay, that's one side, but you got to have another side to you. Like you might want to hear some blues or some jazz, or you might need some R&B or something to help balance that cycle out. Because these things can control you to a certain place. Like I know, like people love saying like a lot of times it don't be the music, but I've physically been around heard gangster rap, especially in my the younger days, and been like, yo, it do overwhelm you to a degree. Like it make you feel a little tougher. Like it make you feel like what I'm saying, especially when you talk about like the 3-6 Mafia and like the Lil Jon Crunk music era, like a lot of that type of stuff. Like it make you feel a little rowdy. It make you want you make what I'm saying. It does play an effect. People think like these vibrations don't play an effect on people, especially when we start centering and understanding our chakras and things of that nature. A lot of people might not understand this, but they definitely play an effect. They definitely can weigh down on you and damn, that can change you. The same way physical activities can change you to a degree. Same way you can see it, certain mental drills and things like that to build your strengths and stuff like that as far as increasing your mind can, they change you.
It's the same way like when people when they want to have a romantic night, they throw on some soft R&B. When they want to go do a crime, they throw on some rap music. A lot of these gang members, they say throw on some DMX or something when they go ready to do a hit or something like that. We get them amped up. So
yeah, it's a reason why people say it gets you in the mood.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't just say it for no reason. There's a reason why they say that.
And most of the time, not all the time, but a lot of times when I'm around somebody and they typically play a certain type of music, some of their behaviors do reflect that type of music that they typically listen to.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Mm-hmm. Same way, like if you met a chick, right,
mm-hmm.
and all she listened to was gangster rap, like that's all you ever hear her listen to.
Yeah.
What would come to your mind about her? Like if that's all you hear.
She matches as hell. She for the streets. It's drama.
So you wouldn't believe her. You wouldn't believe her if she tell you, she was like, no, I'm a good church going girl. But that's all she listening to is, I don't know none of these chicks' names.
Man, Cardi B.
Yeah, they're the female rappers. I ain't really a fan of most female artists, realistically anyway. So I don't be knowing. But yeah, say if she bumping all that, the whole city girl, all this other stuff like that, like, but she say, yo, I'm a sweet church girl. You wouldn't believe her?
I might believe she going to church. But I don't necessarily believe that she don't have a bad side to her. I've seen girls bump, Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, and they go to church every Sunday and sing church songs. But through the week, that's the issue. I don't believe she's a sweet girl. I believe she go to church.
Oh yeah, I believe we're definitely a sum of our parts. You know what I'm saying? I believe that could be just one aspect of it. I wouldn't say she full thrown ratchet, but I'd be like, if that's all I hear she listen to, I would be like, I don't know, that's kind of weird. Like,
especially if they immersed in the culture, like they really like everything. Like when I was in New York City, hip hop is big there. They play that in like even Italian restaurants. They play Jay-Z, up there because hip hop is born up there. And everybody love hip hop up there. You can see an old white lady knocking some DMX up there. You rarely gonna see that in the South. So people are immersed in the culture. So you meet a female that's immersed in the culture. She's big on that stuff. A lot of times, her whole outlook on life and her behavior is representative of that music.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Man, let's talk about the third aspect of the Trinity, man. This is what we call spiritual health. When you hear spiritual health, what come to your mind?
It comes a lot of different things. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think when I think of like spirit is who you are. One of the things I think about is like who you are. If people believe in being reincarnated, and then a lot of people attribute being spirituality to like their ancestors. So I mean, I hear a lot of different things when I hear people talk about spirituality. So I don't really 100% know exactly what people mean when they talk about the spirit. But I just say the inner being, like who you are at your core, like. That's what I think of mainly when I hear it, but I don't know the full definition of it. So I'm gonna let you break it down, and then I'll ride the wave.
So yeah, I mean, of course, when people hear spirituality, when people use words like soul, coming from certain cultures, they say chi, they say different things. I think you on the head when you say it's more so what it is, the core. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of people, their religion comes first, and their spirituality is based within whatever the religious compounds that they choose to maneuver and run with. But spirit is another word for soul. And I don't care what nobody say, regardless of if you're religious or not, you still got your soul.
Yeah.
So it deals with you. You know what I'm saying? And what moves you. Like I always hear, like you hear a lot of people now, they love throwing the term energy around. Well, when we say energy, all we're doing is contributing and acknowledging our spirit. When somebody be like, yo, I was around, this person got good energy, or they say good vibes. That's what we channeling. We talking about the spirit side that we get from them. You know what I'm saying? Or that upliftingness that they have. Like you might be somebody might say, yo, you might want to turn up that evening. And then you might get around some people who got a very live, uplifting spirit. So of course, the ideas of turning up will be fairly easy because you just was placed around somebody who got that spirit to do exactly that. Or it can also get you on the other side. Say you might be in a real good mood, and you might come across somebody who might be like, damn, they might have a real down spirit. And then all of a sudden, you might have been happy and uplifted, and you got around them. Now you feel sad as hell. Like you like, damn, how the fuck I got sad so fast? I was happy before I came over your house.
Energy off.
Yeah. So like they spirit literally threw your spirit off. And a lot of people don't understand your spirit can be tainted depending on what it is that you let affect you. But I think spirit and mentality ties into and help build a lot of your emotions as well. Like, it's a reason why it's a trinity. Like all of these things work together. You know what I'm saying? Your mind, body, your soul, physicality, your mentality, and your spirituality. I think all these things play a part in help building you and help building that. But when it comes to spirit directly, I think things like meditation help bring the calmness and stillness to your spirit. It helps generate and give you a level of peace, and it kind of help sort certain things out for you. You know what I'm saying? Because there's some stuff, because even though your mentality is very strong, a lot of times when you take the meditation, right, you got to clear your mind for that. Because a lot of times your emotions or your mind could be a burden to you as far as your spirit as well. Because, a lot of people get a lot of stuff on their mind. Like your bills might be weighing you down. Certain stuff might be going on with family. You might have an issue with your wife or whatever may have you. So sometimes you need to tap into the spiritual side of it to be able to separate yourself from what plagues your mind. You know what I'm saying?
You took my whole entire spiel now. So I was just about to get into that.
But yeah, so sometimes you have to dive into that aspect just to eliminate the other side. Like even though, no, don't get me wrong. Like I think every piece matters. Every piece is critical. I think your physical health is critical, your mental health is critical, and your spiritual health is very, 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 very critical. But I think we have to learn how to nourish and build all three. What you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. You definitely all three players are an important factor. If one is off, it's definitely going to create a liability in your life somewhere. You may not know where that's at, but it's definitely something that's going to be off. So I think all three of these things that we spoke about work hand in hand in making you a better person overall, mental health and spirituality.
Quick question, just you personally. So if you hanging out, right, and you say you chilling in a
Mhm.
bar or something like that, and you come across a chick, for you, because I know this ain't a right or wrong. It'll be different for
Yeah, I'm
different
asking
people because
personally.
people are, attracted,
Mhm.
or certain things appeal to people differently. To you, what would be considered those good vibes, or a great energy from a woman? If you had to like just meet her, say like at a lounge or a bar or something like that.
I would say, let me break it down. I would say number one, a calmness to her, but she's not
Mm-hmm.
too tight. You know how I talk about like sometimes when you have a conversation, I talk about females that being tight, that they
Mm-hmm.
on edge, they on guard. I would say there's a calmness to her. There's a natural flow of conversation. I don't have to like y'all just me and you speak about you walk outside, you meet somebody, and some people you just click with. There's some women like that they come into a bar you may meet and there's a natural flow of conversation, a natural warmness you feel to that person without even knowing that person. Now, some of this can lead you down a bad hill eventually, but these are the good vibes for at that moment. We speaking on just that moment. It's the
Mm-hmm.
calmness that they have around you, the warmness, the natural bondness that you have with that person, the similarities once y'all start talking, the way y'all interact with each other as far as laughing, engaging, feeling just comfortable around the person. I would say those are aspects of like a great vibe you get with a person. I just had one of those probably like a week ago with this white chick. She's pretty cool. But then
Yeah,
there's
nah,
to
my bad. Go
compare it to
ahead.
something else, there's some other females that she may come in the bar. We may kind of click, but it may be off. Like you can tell
Mm-hmm.
it's trying to be forced. Like you're trying to create a conversation. She's trying to create a conversation around us. Yeah, y'all laughing every now and then, but it ain't really that flow of I just feel calm and relaxed around you. It's like something trying to be forced. So that's what I would say about that.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I think if I had to meet a chick, I think like a genuine happiness about her, right? But
Yeah,
not something that's alcohol inflicted, or
yeah,
drug
exactly.
drug related.
I
You know what
agree.
I'm saying? Because you can meet a motherfucker who happy as hell, but they might just be high as hell.
Hmm.
I'm talking about like somebody who you can see like upon a
Yeah,
sober note, who like naturally got a happiness about them,
yeah,
and like
that's
you
dope.
see it, like they're having a good time, but they're having a good time upon their own like self, and it's not drug related. And I'm keep bringing up drug related because we live in an era, man. Well,
Yeah,
don't get me wrong, ain't nothing wrong with drinking a little alcohol, but sometimes you can definitely tell a difference for someone who has a natural,
hmm,
high or happiness about them versus someone who is more triggered by the intoxication. You know what I'm saying? And I think like that's something that stands out. Like the way that the person, like the woman, would communicate, like the way that she would vibe just naturally. You know what I'm saying? Whether y'all in a open setting and it's amongst a group, or whether it's a one-on-one. And you can see like when talking to somebody who genuinely seem, because I think what stands out, like when you meet people, like somebody who genuinely seem interested in you. Like,
yeah,
like you can tell by the way they ask their questions. Like they be like, "Yo, what do you do? What are you into?" Like naturally, like it's not a
yeah.
scripted thing, but they naturally, you can tell they can be like, "Yo, nah, I'm curious. Like I really want to know. Like, what do
Yeah,
you do?"
you can feel that they want to know you. You can actually
Yeah,
feel it.
that
It's
yeah,
more than somebody just creating conversation. You can actually feel it. It's even
yeah.
like when we talk about like the one night stands. A lot of times that those what lead to those natural bonds that you have with a person where you feel like I can say anything to them.
Mm-hmm.
There's some females that you meet in the first day. Let's take one night stand out of it. Even on the first day, you feel like we can shoot pool and I can put my arm around her while I'm talking to her because y'all just so
Yeah,
engaged and y'all so
y'all in sync.
connected. Yeah, y'all ain't sync when it don't even feel awkward. And then some people it may be an issue with it. You even get that with like say example on another level with like let's say example a pool hall that's in something. Sometimes you may go to that pool hall maybe one, two, three times a month, and it may be another guy in there that you see, and for some reason y'all always end up in the same area vibing. You know, y'all just feel like homeboys. Y'all always talk about, hey man, how was the game? Y'all talk about, hey man, how was your week? How was work? What you got going on? What you got going on? Some people you just have a natural attraction to.
It's kind of like, like, I don't know if you ever like been someplace and like say if you've been someplace, I'm gonna just throw numbers out. Say if you've been someplace like 50 people there.
Somebody stand out.
Like 50 people there, right? And you might like you maneuvering around, you know, you meeting, you mingling, you talking to people, networking, whatever may have you. And then you just come across somebody, you don't know them. And they don't even have to be like a female. It could be like a dude. And it was like, you'll start conversating with them. And then for some reason, you'll be like, yo, it's just like, yo, you'll be like, yo, I really rock with this dude or this female. And like I said, it ain't one of them attractive type things. It's like, yo, this is super dope. Like this person is super cool. And it's like one of the things you kind of can't explain, but it's like a spiritual connection. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, I really, really rock with this person. This person is super dope.
That's a fact.
I think that type of stuff, man, it happens. Like I think, you know, like how people always they use the term like kindred spirits when they be like, y'all share such a likeness that y'all connect to a certain degree. And I know a lot of people use it among spouses. They use it amongst like people with them and their parents or whatever may have you. But I think, you know, I think these spiritual connections, man, are definitely, you know, they're deep. I think that you can really, really connect and grow with people. I think it's something different out here.
And
I definitely think all these things.
I like the fact that you use the drug analogy because a lot of people, they may be like drinking a lot or they party a lot and they feel that same feeling when they meet somebody else that drinking and party a lot. And they don't realize till later on, till they get backstabbed to something happened that wasn't never a true friend. They just bonded over the fact that they like to party a lot or they like to drink a lot. That natural bond is different when it's just regular conversation. It's just regular kicking it at the park. It's just regular, we met in the bar, we just talked with under no influence. So a lot of people, they get those two feelings mixed up because you had that same feeling when two people drink a lot together or they get high a lot together. In fact, man, me and this person, we connect. Nah, y'all just connect because y'all high as hell. Your natural self and their natural self actually ain't compatible.
Most definitely. Hey, man, so overall, man, we tapped into, you know, we talked a little bit about, you know, the physicality. We talked a little bit about mentality. We talked about the spirituality. What do you think, man? Like, well, ain't really more you think, man. What would be some advice, man, that you got for the people, man? Just, you can either address all three, man, address one, two. You know what I'm saying? What are some advice you would give to the people about improving or building whatever it is that they're trying to do? Which would be, well, as far as health is concerned.
I think people should just try to be better than who they were yesterday. You know, try to improve every day on something that you were. Don't compare yourself to other people and judge your improvement by where other people are, how they developing. You know, mental, spirituality, physical. Just try to do one more of what you couldn't do yesterday. If you could do one push-up today, get 2 push-ups tomorrow. If you could read 30 seconds of a book today, read a minute of a book tomorrow. I think instead of increasing over time, you'll realize how beneficial it'll be, and it actually make you a better person in everything involved in your life. You will realize how quickly things will just start getting better. How we talk about luck. Everybody has a form of luck, but you definitely increase your chance on luck by certain things you do in your life. You'll realize certain things just start falling into place for yourself. So I think you just don't compare yourself to other people. Compare yourself to you the day before.
Most definitely, man. One of the things I would say, man, I'm gonna hit all three. Mm-hmm. When it comes to your physical health, man, listen, man, how they always say, yo, treat your body like a temple, man. A lot of times, man, the way you approach your physical health, especially as far as the way a diet can keep you on this planet a little bit longer. I know some people might not understand it. They might not try to live but for so long. But for those of you who want to live, you know, a little longer, you know, you might got kids or whatever may have, for whatever reason that you feel you want to live. You might want to just travel the world, and there's a lot more of the world you haven't seen. You gotta understand how the importance of your physical health, man. You gotta eat right. You gotta have physical exercise. There's too many people that I'm seeing nowadays who are like 30, 31. I'm 34. There's too many people who are around my age that I'm looking at and I'm talking to, and they complain about backaches. They complain about joint pain. It's like, it's crazy. Like, we are too young And I'm going to say we're too young because like I do martial arts and I train with a lot of cats. I train with cats who are well in their 60s. These dudes are more athletic and they will get it in they'll get it in and go way harder than a lot of 20-year-olds. So I don't see the excuses when I hear people talking, they talk like that. Like I know guys who really, really get it in. And for cats who think that they old at 30 and 40, dude, you're not old, dog. You're just lazy as hell. But tap into it, man. It's very important. If you want to live long and you want to, carry yourself and, be more beneficial to your family and your loved ones, you need to do that. As far as your mentality, super important. You need to make sure you're in a healthy place mentally. Because being in a healthy place mentally will definitely affect the way that you go about things. It'll definitely affect, matter of fact, your mental health will affect the way that you go about it physically. And then your mental health will also affect the way you make your decisions. It'll affect the way that you go about work. Your mental, it just affects so many things and it's super important. It's a whole list, man. We can do hours and hours and hours of show. I'm not trying to really be long-winded on a whole bunch of things, but your mentality is very important, people. You got to make sure you're in the right mental space, and you got to know how to cut out the people who ruin your mental space. Because sometimes it's the people who you got around you. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it ain't you. Sometimes, you might be one of them people that if you separate yourself, you can actually build. But it's the people that you keep around you and the people that you keep within your subconscious, because we're talking about the mind. You might have a strong consciousness about yourself, but because you keep a lot of foolishness things within your subconsciousness, you don't understand that your subconsciousness can, for the moment or temporarily, can overwhelm your consciousness, and all your actions can be provoked and lived out through your subconsciousness, whether people tend to understand this or not. So I don't care how strong consciousness a lot of people are. What people typically keep within their subconsciousness, they can't overrule it. When it comes to your spirituality, man, hey, listen, man, I know everybody's not into meditation, but take time out and get that solitude. I think one of the things that help build people is being able to distance yourself. I know we live in a big social area and people love to be around people, but I don't think people really understand the beauty of being alone. Like the beauty of really just separating yourself. Like even if it's just you sitting, being alone, reading a book, or take a vacation. Sometimes you might just need a vacation, man, to get your spirits right. You might need to take a trip by yourself. By yourself. I'm going to emphasize by yourself. Because when we're talking about personal and self-development, it's that of yourself. Now, yes, you can be inspired from other people, but what you apply for yourself will definitely be much greater. You know what I'm saying? So this Trinity is very important. I think it's great. I think there's a lot of things that's out like that, but it's good. But hey, Matt, this is another one for the books, man. I know we're a little earlier than we normally run our show. We normally be about to get ready to start a show actually at this time. But hey, feel like we got it in. You know what I'm saying? Very important message. We'll definitely see you on the holiday the 4th. We got a good show. Probably we're gonna most likely ruffle a little bit of feathers. We're gonna talk about cheating and all this other good stuff like that. But I got a good show coming for on the 4th of July. And anything you got else you want to say to the people, man, about the health or anything, man, before we sign out?
Yeah, we're gonna end it with make sure you get that rest as well. We hit on that a little bit earlier. So make sure you're getting the proper sleep. Now, don't use that as the excuse to sleep 14 hours a day now. Proper sleep, 6 to 8 hours. That's all you need.
Oh yeah, you don't. Yeah, first of all, if you sleeping all that long, most people don't even know you throw your body out of alignment too. Your body ain't meant to be, laying down like that to that extent. Like most people don't realize that, like your body starts to function different when you start oversleeping and just sleeping. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, most definitely get your rest predicated upon the hours. 8 hours is a little too much for me because if I get 8 hours of sleep, man, I can't. I feel wore out. I'm more of a 6 to 6 hour type of a guy. For me personally. But hey, man, it's definitely a beautiful thing, man. It is what it is. Hey, Matt, got a plug? You want to run your plug, man, before we get up out of here?
Nah, just Matthew Washington Facebook, and I have everything else done by the end of the weekend.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I'm right here. I am KJ. Kevin. They know me, but I am Mr. Humble Beginnings, and this right here is that for those of us who trying to reach forward. Listen, until the next time, I'll let you. We'll see you.